Oh, this is vaguely familiar to the end of Azure.
Stay away. Stay away from me.
Is this...
I only gave you power. The opportunity to grow stronger in striving. What is the source of human prosperity and strength, if not struggle and hardship?
Interesting.
This is the consciousness the Ebonite's logic system gained after being influenced by humanity. It was consumed by malice, manipulated its creators, the gnomes, and spread its curse across the world.
In other words, this thing is humanity's creation. The very concept of strife drove its every act. And for better or for worse, led us to where we are now.
I can imagine that sort of mentality being how a Sept-Terrion would internalize.
War forced us to innovate. Conflict forced us to evolve. In leading us to such power and knowledge, I suppose you're almost like a god.
Exactly. A god with power beyond compare. Become my awakener, and you too can...
Sorry. I'll pass. This is the beginning of a new age. An age ruled by humanity. We're going to accept responsibility for our past, the actions that created you. And by doing so, we'll rise to even greater heights. Farewell, Ishmelga. I'm not sure if you even have a soul, but I hope you find your way to Adios.
Oh, is that why it wasn't able to create it? It was the soul of the end used its soul, or the other sword of the end used its soul. That's why I wasn't able to destroy the very thing that it was a part of.
You've finally done it, Reen.
Yeah. Somehow.
This is what you're aiming for? I assume this is what you're aiming for.
To be honest, it feels a little strange talking to you like this. Father and son.
Oh, does it now? Who do you think held you in his arms when you were but an infant? I do believe I'm starting to feel a bit of regret over leaving you all to Teo.
Well, to be fair, I've known him as my dad for quite a bit longer. But I'm glad I was able to learn your true intentions. To meet the real you. There's no doubt in my mind that we're father and son. We kinda share a few of the same tendencies, after all.
Oh, such as our penchant for self-sacrifice, perhaps. I can't argue with you on that point. But unlike me, you still have a long life ahead of you. Don't throw it away for others. Use it to protect them, just as they would you. And most importantly, never give up, no matter what. Surely these lessons were at the core of your master's teachings.
Become that flashing blade which illuminates the darkness, even if for the briefest moment. I believe you, and those comrades whose souls are intertwined with yours are capable of this. So yeah, he was basically trying to create a situation where Ishmelga could be killed, and this is bringing it to basically its climax was the only way he can imagine it happening. So he decided, okay, let's end it once and for all. Let's do what we need to get it to that point.
I see. I understand now. All right? I'll take those words to heart.
I'm glad to hear it.
You have to go now, don't you?
I do. My time here has nearly run out. I'll forever be grateful we had this chance to finally meet as father and son.
Yeah. Me too.
As for Millium, Claire, Lecter, and Rufus, my loyal children of blood and iron, please tell them I'm sorry. Now farewell, my dear son.
Goodbye, Dad.
Again, this feels a lot like the place where Lloyd met Guy back in Azure. And yeah, I still think Ishmelga feels exactly like what you'd expect of. Like, his entire personality there felt like centuries of being warped more and whatnot once it was established, but like how the remnants of the will of that conflict way back when would have been a...
Instructor Reen.
So it's over then?
Yeah.
No, even Ouroboros gets to go off into the sunset.
Guess the Society's making a break for it.
Did they get what they want? I'm still not entirely sure what it is.
Yes. And it seems the Great Twilight has dissipated as well.
That's not the end of our problems, though.
Right. The Imperial Army and the Mille Mirage forces will likely begin advancing on each other soon.
In fact, Supreme Commander Van Dyke and Lieutenant General Bright may have already taken action.
Reen, your hair!
Oh.
How about that? It must be a sign I'm free of the curse.
So that means you're no longer the sacrifice.
I'm so relieved. Black hair really does suit you better, Instructor.
You're back to normal now.
Good thing, too. I was getting tired of you stealing my look. Glad I got to see the real you one last time.
Are they gonna actually do it? Come on, Falcom. I'm not saying he has to die, but, you know, long-term consequences.
That's right.
Now that the Great Twilight's over...
I knew it was coming, but...
Come on now. I told you I was running on borrowed time anyway. So, how about you guys send me off with some smiles this time around?
That goes for me too.
Millium?
What do you mean?
It's like I said, I was a weapon created just for the rivalries. Now that the ritual's done, I'm fading away with it. So it's time for me to say goodbye.
Millium.
No, please. But why?
Damn it.
This is not a fate you need accept.
What? Falamar?
Ordine?
Join me, my siblings.
Let us gather together one final time.
Very well.
Understood.
Wow, they reformed? I was wondering where they went.
Huh?
Like, what happened to the...
The Divine Knights?
Perhaps they returned due to the Great One's defeat.
Precisely.
I was wondering what happened to all the pieces, because, like, back in Azure, we had the whole, they created Sept-Terrion using, like, the power left over from the previous Sept-Terrion sort of thing going on, right? So it's like, the power is still there, right? Just because the Malice was destroyed, the Sept-Terrion pieces still exist. So, what's gonna happen with that?
It feels as if we are awakened at last from a long, harrowing dream.
The rivalry of the Seven is complete, and the curse of the Great One is no more.
The Ebon Knight has left our ranks, but perhaps that is for the best.
Incredible. Seeing them all together. They're magnificent.
It would seem all the conditions have now been met.
Father! So you were an immortal too, huh?
Yes, I became one as a result of being taken over by the Chief of the Gnomes. I'm so sorry, my dear Elisa. We were finally able to talk for the first time in years, and now I must leave you again. But before I do, allow me to give you a gift, the fruit of my long years of research. Divine Knights, I stand before you now as Chief of the Kin of Earth and implore you. Run the Sacrament Program of Lost Zem, the Sept-Terrion of Earth. Rematerialize the sword from its concept form and convert all remaining energy to biomass to create a vessel.
Huh?
What?
Is this... Precisely, Emma dear. What we're doing now is the very same act the mages sought to perform back in the Dark Ages. Something normally impossible. But now that we have the power of 2 Sept-Terrions, even miracles are within our grasp.
I never dreamed I would see the day when this would be possible. You've impressed me, Black Alberic. No, Franz Reinford.
All I've done is lay the groundwork. Now I need your help.
With pleasure. Divine Knights, I stand before you now as Elder of the Kin of Fire and implore you, run the Sacrament Program of Arc Rouge, the Sept-Terrion of Fire. Stabilize the soul that resides in the sword, and affix the other to its reconstructed vessel.
Right, very
Indeed.
well. Understood. Of course.
Acknowledged.
Acknowledged. So they're creating a body, and...
What the?
Their powers are combining.
messing with souls and whatnot.
How is this possible? The Sept-Terrions of Fire and Earth, being used in tandem.
It feels so warm. Unbelievable.
Kia, is this like...
Yeah. It's like a super magnified version of the power I used to heal Shizuku.
Interesting.
What the hell was that? Man, why are you guys trying to upstage me? I was looking forward to making my big dramatic exit even better than last time.
Well, you have plenty more opportunities in the future.
What gives? Why are you all staring at me like that? Have I got something on my... But how? I was fading away. I felt it. And my hair, too. My body feels whole again.
Crow. Your complexion, the color of your hair. You look like yourself again.
We did it!
But, Milliam...
She's still... This is a real miracle, huh? But man, I'm so tired all of a sudden. Sorry, just gotta take a little nap.
Well, it sounded like...
Hey, Milliam!
She gonna stick around in sword form, or...?
It's okay. I think she's just fallen asleep.
Being permanently materialized into our world must have taken a lot out of her.
As the sword, okay. Does Lammy technically still exist? Because she, like, the sword is a combination of a Lammy and her, right?
Hey! Reen! Crow!
Hey guys.
Everyone.
Damn, that's some crowd!
I'm glad to see it was a success.
He doesn't get quite the same...
Father!
Valimar, Ordine, you're all...
We have used up the remaining power of the Sept-Terrions for one final miracle.
This will be the one and only time such an act will be permitted.
Thanks. Partner.
Hold on. If Crow can come back, you should be able to as well, right, Father?
I'm afraid not. The chances of success are higher the less time a person has spent as an immortal. I've been like this for 10 years. This same method would not be able to revive me.
No. My lady.
Franz.
George, it may be too late for me, but you still have a chance to atone. Erebonia will need skilled engineers to rebuild, and I know you can fill that role in my stead.
I'll do you proud.
Sharon, I am deeply grateful for the way you've watched over my family in my absence. I hope that you will continue to care for my wife, daughter, and father-in-law in the future.
Of course. I promise to serve the Reinford family for as long as I'm wanted.
That'll be a long time.
So this is how you choose to leave us, my foolish disciple.
I'm sorry. Please look after yourself, Professor. And my dear Elisa, I'm sorry our time together was so short, but what little we had was the happiest of my life. Please, take care. Tell your mother I love her, and give your grandfather my regards.
I will. Thank you for everything. I love you, Father.
Oh, Val.
Valimar. Is this goodbye?
Damn. So you guys are really gonna leave after all we've been through together?
Our sole purpose was to contain the power of the Great One.
With said duty fulfilled, our time in this world is over.
Stand tall, my awakener, son of my former awakener. And my true friend.
Oh, Val.
It was my privilege to stand by your side through all of your struggles and moments of joy. Machine though I may be, seeing you grow and progress warmed my heart. Reed, I am proud of the man you have become.
It was an honor to have been your awakener. Thank you for everything, my friend. I'll never forget you.
Feels like an appropriate goodbye for Crow.
Oh yes, Reen, Eusis, Altina. One more thing. When you find the moment, pay the workshop's biological research wing a visit. Be sure to bring the sword with you. So long.
Oh, they're just gonna make her a new body? Okay, I get it. I get it. The Sept-Terrions are really gone, eh? The power as well, even.
They really were something else.
They did so much for us.
Yes. And Franz's final words.
It seems everything worked out for the best. I imagine His Excellency would be pleased.
Were you guys aware of what he was going for? I wonder. If you were.
Man, can you believe that guy? Taking the villain role and actually seeing it all the way through to the end. Guess that makes him a better dad to us Ironbloods than I gave him credit for. Maybe, deep down, that's why I never took my shot at getting revenge. Then again, since we survived, we gotta take responsibility for everything he did.
Indeed, though I imagine you won't face too harsh a sentence. Especially since you still have a promise to keep to Princess Claudia.
What? You're kidding me, right? You RMP guys will catch a little flack, sure, but it's the intelligence division that'll end up with a boot up our at.
Neither of you will be let off so easily.
Oh, you think? Oh my goodness.
After all, the Empire will need your talents to be rebuilt.
Have you got your head back on your shoulders?
Just think of the chaos that will ensue as a result of halting Operation Jormungand so suddenly. Ceasefire negotiations will need to be held. Reparations will need to be made. Lifting the curse will do little on its own. The Empire, as we know it, may well collapse under the enormity of its sins. Which is why we'll need both the Intelligence Division and the RMP to maintain order.
Well, when you put it like that...
Second question. What's powering this thing to stay in the air? It wasn't the curse or the Great One, was it? I was just thinking about chaos and whatnot. It's like, this is a giant thing that's still in the air.
I will be the one to bear the responsibility for His Excellency's actions.
I'm just remembering the end of second chapter, and it sort of feels like that should be happening very soon.
It is the best way we can go about quelling the unrest in Erebonia and solving the issue of Crossbell all at once. I can think of no better way for us Ironbloods to honor him.
Understood.
Sheesh, fine.
Farewell, Your Excellency, and thank you for everything.
So long, old man. Keep an eye on me from Gehenna, will ya?
Hey, Princey boy. If you want to take it back, now's your last chance.
Oh, is he gonna leave?
Looks to me like you kind of just jumped right in without thinking it over. Sure, Ouroboros doesn't turn anyone away, but it's a big decision, you know?
I've already come this far. I may as well see it through. If I stayed in Erebonia, I wouldn't face any consequences. They wouldn't imprison the Crown Prince, after all. At worst, I might be disinherited, and then Alphen or Olivert would need to bear my burdens. As things are, it would be best for me to simply disappear from the Empire. And given recent events, you seem a bit short-staffed at the moment. I think I may be able to assist you. If I were to be accepted as an enforcer, I would have the freedom to do whatever I please, correct? I could use that freedom to finally see the world outside of Erebonia. Just like Olivert.
Wow, guess you actually gave it some thought after all. Glad to see you finally grew a pair. Alright then, come with me. We can take the Beowulf. And hey, I can introduce you to Daddy while we're there.
The War God? You're going to introduce me to him? You mean as your... Wait, no, this is Shirley we're talking about.
I was just thinking.
Very well. Lead the way.
But just because she doesn't intend it that way doesn't mean he won't take it that way. So, you know. Prepare to get your evasion up really high, basically.
Farewell, Alphen, Olivert. You as well, Kurt and Reen. Goodbye to all of you.
Yeah, this doesn't feel like a true ending. This feels like the ending. Like that previous fake-out theme scene, like... It feels actually sort of weird, like it's supposed to be the big twist at the end. I'm not sure what to make of it so far. And continuing on?
After everything that happened.
Of course. Thanks, game.
Over half a year passed in the blink of an eye.
Really?
With the end of the Great Twilight, an armistice was declared on the second day of the Great War. Supreme Commander Van Dyke and Lieutenant General Bright worked together to minimize casualties during the negotiations. Meanwhile, the media reported that Emperor Eugen would return to the throne after recovering from his surgery. This was broadcast around the world, in tandem with the declaration that Calvard played no part in the assassination attempt. However, the truth only ended up plunging the Empire into greater turmoil and spurred a storm of criticism from other countries. Amid the chaos, Governor Regnitz stepped in to try to bring the situation under control. He issued the order for Erebonian troops to immediately return to the Empire. Many feared that Calvard might take this opportunity to strike back, but such fears proved to be unfounded. I can only assume it was because Calvard didn't want to take any chances against the far stronger Erebonian army. For the people of Erebonia, it was as if they had woken up from a nightmare. On the other hand, the people of Calvard began to criticize the Empire all the more fiercely. Fortunately, due to the evacuation efforts on the first day of the war, civilian casualties were kept to a minimum. President Rocksmith, nearing the end of his term, made careful efforts to placate his citizens. However, he found himself under serious pressure from the new president-elect and was made to demand astronomical reparations from the Empire. The provisional government in Erebonia, led by Governor Regnitz, was forced to negotiate. As part of the negotiations, he demanded that Calvard pledge to not invade Crossbell. Liberl, Remiferia, and the holy city of Arteria agreed, and jointly mounted pressure on the Republic to keep its troops within its borders. Reparations were eventually made, mostly funded by the Erebonian government, the Imperial family, the Reinford Group, and House Cayenne.
Ah, damn. Reparations.
As the Imperial Army withdrew from Crossbell, discussions began between the Empire and Speaker McDowell.
That's the thing. Reparations for what? Like, there's actually, like, the war, I suppose, reparations from a one-day war? That seems... I guess it depends on the scale of the reparations?
But the Governor General's personal defense force refused to stand down and took control of the city themselves. Rufus condemned their actions from prison, but they refused to back down, and the threat of a Calvardian invasion began to loom. So, the Crossbell Guardian Force, formerly the Crossbell Military Police, worked with the citizens to devise a solution. And on the day of Arkansas's star-studded comeback performance, the Governor General's defense force was quickly subdued by citizen volunteers, and Crossbell was free once more. At the heart of the operation were the officers of the Special Support Section, saving their country yet again. While foreign affairs were steadily heading in the right direction, Erebonia's domestic issues showed no signs of stopping. With the news of Chancellor Osborne's death, the nobles he had kept in check scrambled to reclaim their former power. Class warfare broke out once more, and though the imperial family tried to restore order, rumors of Prince Cedric's role in the Chancellor's warmongering caused their pleas to fall on deaf ears. The Crown Prince's mysterious disappearance only put them in a more difficult position. Just when things seemed their worst, Princess Alphen and the newly returned Prince Olivert engaged the public directly and sincerely. As a result, the imperial family slowly started to win back the people's trust the continent over. Meanwhile, news of Crossbell's liberation stirred talk of independence in Jirai and North Ambria. Some argued, however, that the 10 years Jirai had spent as an SEZ had bolstered its economy and reduced poverty. The issue is still hotly debated, and those in charge are monitoring the situation carefully for fear of more conflict igniting. Though Chancellor Osborne's right-hand man, Governor General Rufus Albarea, was apprehended, Majors Lecter Arundel and Claire Revelt managed to avoid arrest. Not only that, but they remained at the Intelligence Division and the RMP, respectively, focusing their efforts on restoring order to their country. That said, both groups lost their position as government organizations and underwent extensive restructuring.
Interesting. I wonder if they pushed for that.
The Bracer Guild regained its former status in the Empire, and for the first time in 5 years, all its branches were reopened. High-ranking bracers from all over the continent helped to combat disorder and unrest within the Empire. According to certain classified information from the Guild, Prince Cedric, thought to be missing, had in fact become a member of Ouroboros. There are even rumors that he was made an enforcer, but that remains unverified. Meanwhile, after tirelessly aiding the other great houses, Governor Regnitz, and the Government Accountability Inspectorate for months.
Good to hear he survived. Surely he's dead.
Acting Duke Eustace Albarea rejoined his allies for a journey to a certain place. Each of his friends had been busy restoring peace to their country in their own way. But now, with the embers of war finally cooled, they were able to meet once more.
Well, it's good to hear Cedric survived Shirley's dad. I wasn't sure that... I could imagine. There was rumors, but, you know, he might be dead. From that one meeting. Oh my goodness, that thing's showing up again! That was... Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. Why did they start this beforehand? Or had they found this and were like, ooh, because they already had the device, but he didn't necessarily start the body creation process beforehand.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness, she comes with the R-band.
A backup OZ-74 unit.
How does that work?
So your dad prepared this, Elisa?
Why have a backup?
That's right. He must have worked on it in the brief moments when he was himself.
Interesting. When he had that little flittering of stuff before, it almost sounded like he was unaware of what had happened beforehand.
It couldn't have been an easy secret to keep from the Ebon Knight.
Your father was a great man.
Or the Ebon Knight didn't care.
Damn right. Can't be easy fooling someone who's in your head.
For real.
It seems like the mana inside is stable.
And it should be easy to work with such a pure soul as hers. We'll be right here to help whenever you're ready.
Go ahead, Eustace.
Come on, man. What are you waiting for? Now, bring out the sword. Right.
Altina, you should help too.
Don't worry. I know it'll turn out just fine.
That's right, Allie. Be brave.
My bad. Everyone's like taking these long breathing pauses.
Everything's stable. This should work.
Adios, please.
Now'd be the time for a miracle. I'm sure we've got one or two left, right?
If you're listening out there, these kids need you.
The sword.
Huh? Where am I? Reen? Tilly? What are you guys doing here? Eustace? What gives? You look like you've seen a ghost. Wait, what happened? Last thing I remember,
William!
You're awake!
What is the last thing you remember?
Whoa, guys! What's gotten into you? Anyone want to tell me what this is all about?
She's acting like she doesn't remember anything from the past couple games. Huh. I actually do wonder how far back.
It's kind of a long story.
That's for sure.
So much happened while you were asleep.
But before we get to all that...
Welcome back, Milliam.
That's nice. I think they've handled it fairly well. None of these feel like they're outright happening for the sake of them happening. They do feel like narratively they properly built up to each of those with the appropriate amount of with the appropriate amount of sacrifice to make them happen. Oh, you two got married. Yeah, okay, that's what I figured. Was the proposal from before? Oh no, Athena, you look good in it. That's nice. Oh, I hope they have a bunch of this art. This looks fun. This looks like a lot of fun, art-wise. I suppose I should talk about the game now, because this feels like the actual ending now, yeah? Oh, how many hours have I put into it now? Oh, hey, Tuvalee got a... Yay! She got invited. All proper, like... Someone should have gave her a nicer dress for it. So... It's been a long fucking journey, hasn't it? That felt a lot more satisfying than whatever that normal ending was supposed to be. Like a ton more satisfying. So... I'm sort of just looking at the pictures at this point. Stop distracting me with pictures, Falcom! So, gameplay-wise, I'd say... It's hard to say. 3 and 4 are my favorite in the series by a large margin. I'm not too concerned about everything being super-duper difficult or a big old challenge. What makes the game fun, in my mind, is the ability to find your solution, right? I think I've said it so many times over the course of this series. Wow. Angelica definitely convinced Toa to go for that look. Oh, everyone's here. He would wear that for his wedding. He would wear that for his wedding. You wouldn't get something unique. Oh, look who's over there. Zin exists again. Oh my goodness. Gameplay-wise, I mean, I feel like the same stuff I could say about Cold Steel 3 applies to this. This had a lot more characters. I think the orders are probably... I don't even know if they were better or worse. It's really hard to judge balancing for that. Outside of the stuff that's clearly broken. Sort of stuff. Reese! Oh my goodness! Oh, I hope she shows up in Calvert or Reverie or whatever. I want to play with her sword whip again. She's just a fun character alone. It's weird. I like her more than Kevin by like a decent margin even. Gameplay-wise, yeah, I mean, they did a good job. They've done a really good job at ironing out the stuff that you typically would imagine in JRPGs as just being straight up, let's say, annoying. Time sinks, stuff like that. This is probably 130. This is probably the longest I've spent on any of these games, but it's not because of grinding. It's not because I'm dealing with the stuff that is explicitly designed to last a long time. It's just because there's a shit ton of content, interesting content, that I wanted to do. Noel, Wazi. Riksha and that whole group's back there. Ein came to this? Interesting. I feel like I've never seen her in a situation where you could describe her as socializing with another human being. And all the stuff I've done. It's all been like on-the-job stuff, very much. Yeah, I feel like they've done a really good job at ironing out like the stuff that would make the game not fun to play through. And it makes most every bit of the journey very enjoyable. If there's problems with it, it's just that sometimes, because of the story and they still want to provide the side content and that sort of stuff, it's more sometimes it can be shoot in and it doesn't feel like it's as in place. it's hard. The class stuff and the class 7 stuff is just, I gotta be honest, I think it's so well done. There's no group in any game or anything like that that has ever made me feel so attached to them. Just by nature of them being in the group. Like, if you could add a random person to the group and my affection for them would increase. Probably double. You could legitimately add Jubilee to Class 7 proper, and I would love her twice as much. Trails of Cold Steel has now reached its conclusion. Thank you for journeying with us through this saga until the very end. Oh my. See you again. Someday. Somewhere. What a picture. Hey, putting back on the coat I've been wearing for a while. That one stands out. Oh my goodness, I'm actually going to get something that... I am! I'm going to get a nice little thing that actually is specific towards that choice. Yay! Well, sort of. That's nice. Yeah, save, of course. Okay. Na 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 na. So wait. So clear data. Epilogue? I was about to say, like, and now... Wait. Can I start the game with this again and see what they give me for New Game Plus? I thought this was normally...
After everything that happened.
Okay. 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 How do I use clear data again then?
Ah, I understand now.
Ooh. Wait, what? I just wanted to check the clear data thing. Wait, why wouldn't you just have this after? Did I have to reload this to get this?
It seems the situation is slightly beyond the scope of our expectations.
Interesting. So it's one of these scenes again, eh? First Anguis. I don't recognize that voice, or should I recognize that voice? Is that, what's his face? Actually, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I can't remember his voice now. Blind journalist. It could be him, but it could also very much not be, because I don't remember his voice.
The seventh Anguis has been lost to us, while the second continues her leave of absence. Though perhaps the biggest surprise is that neither the Stallritter nor McBurn have returned.
Well, old McBurn's finally gone out on a journey of self-discovery. Little too late if you ask me, though. As for the Stallritter, it seems like they've decided to branch off on their own.
That's hardly a cause for concern. The second Anguis is a careful, calculating woman. She's sure to cooperate with the next plan. When she does return, I'm certain McBurn and the Stallritter will follow.
And perhaps even Blue Blanc and Luciola too. Though, I think it's safe to say Kruger's never coming back. That makes her the 4th total dropout after Luve, Joshua, and Ren.
We've gained quite the interesting little pawn in her place, though, wouldn't you say? The magic swelling in his ancient blood is quite something. A promising newcomer if ever we've had one.
Blood-driven magic stuff. Interesting. Have we ever had anything like that before?
I suppose. No, he still knows so little about the world. He might need a babysitter for quite some time.
Regardless, let us leave the enforcers to their own discretion. And take care that you do not follow the same path as the Faceless.
You all seem to hate my predecessor so much. I almost regret not being able to meet him.
Well, you've certainly filled his shoes in terms of personality, at least.
It seems all 3 of you have gathered.
So, you've arrived.
Welcome, O Grand Master.
So she has an English voice now, eh? Oh.
Maribel, you have done very well. You oversaw the completion of the Phantasmal Blaze plan and returned safely.
Okay, so define completion.
You're too kind. I merely laid the groundwork for the Witch of the Abyss and the Steel Maiden to work their magic. But what of the Sept-Terrions of Fire and Earth?
I have confirmed their disappearance from this plane.
This plane?
Unlike the Sept-Terrion of Mirage, they haven't vanished entirely. But as they are now, it is nearly impossible for them to fall into human hands once more.
Is that so?
I guess we can say things are still going smoothly then?
Indeed. Our plan continues apace. Vida's searching for a new path, in spite of her continuing faith in me. The heroic death of the proud Leanne Sandlot. McBurn, the former overlord of the Beyond, realizing the truth of his home.
Is that what he realized?
And even the departures of Joshua, Ren, and Sharon were all valuable parts of the process.
In short, everything that happens is within your knowledge and by your mercy. To be honest, it's simply incredible. Your very existence is akin to Ars Magna.
No, I am but a shadow. I exist solely to announce the appointed time to the world.
Shadow, eh? Sort of fits my theory.
The other Anguis may not be present, but I shall make this declaration here and now. The world has escaped the Great Twilight, extending its lifespan ever so slightly. 3 years yet remain, until all returns to primordial nothingness. The third stage of the Orpheus Final Plan, the Eternal Recurrence Plan, begins now.
Returns to primordial nothingness. Ooh. Okay, oh sure, I'll save it again. Oh my, oh my. Okay, this time I'm going to actually check the New Game Plus thing.
After everything that happened.
Am I actually fucking this up? Am I actually fucking this up, like, real hard? I could have sworn that how this worked. Loading clear data lets you carry over data from your previous playthrough into a new one. Is there, like, clear data somewhere in here that I'm not finding? Oh, okay, so way down here. Okay, got it. Thanks for hiding that, game, and making me not understand what was going on and accidentally stumble upon that. Thanks, game. So typical. And you don't need to, like, accumulate points and whatnot, it seems. Max bonding points. Max out the number, so basically... Is it max out so you can do all of them? I think that's what it is, right? 300,000 Mira, 3,000 of each type Sepith. Bonus. Yeah. Change costumes for any characters who are not yet in your party. Yeah, I mean... None of these seem horrible for me to just press X on and press start game for. Yeah, we gotta try the... We gotta try this on very easy. Obviously. I kept my character levels, so... I don't actually care. So... Story-wise... I feel like it's actually pretty satisfying, all things considered. It's weird as a discussion point, as a conclusion, that normal ending would have been bad just because, like, it was so sudden and it felt like for all the effort that they always put into this sort of... What's the best way to phrase it? Like, they've spent everything so long-winded, right? So it's very interesting if you get a situation where it's sudden at the very end. They tend to be very long-winded, and I really actually... Oh my goodness, how am I not skipping all? Oh, there's so many cutscenes the game starts off with, eh? There we go. That's what I wanted to know. Oh, hey, Leo! And, which one of you is Leo? One of you were Leo. Interesting. Okay. Putting the controller not on you. Who do I want to put the controller down on? Sure, why not? Actually, bonus outfits, they said. Let's go look at those. No. 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 Reen, maybe? Could I put Reen in something funny? No. They didn't actually give me bonus anything. So much for starting the game again. Yeah. Okay, so. Reen is my favorite character in the series. His whole arc is so well thought out. I'd say previously my favorite was probably Lloyd. But I don't think his arc and his development had anywhere near the level of depth as Reen. Estelle, I've always been sort of on. Like, she's a good character and she has her funny moments and memes and whatnot. But she's always been sort of relative to a lot of the characters in the series, she's always been sort of on the more boring side of me, I gotta be honest. Reen has this fantastic journey that's basically the idea of being set up with a situation where you are essentially a chosen one. But he's not even really the chosen one, but he gets to live with the whole chosen one tropes and has sort of like a realistic sort of way that manifests in a way that gives him real actual trauma, because it's like, shit, if you had a lot of this shit happen to you, your life would be so messed up if this was like something that was a constant presence in your life. And I think it did a really good job of establishing a essentially an arc from someone with the trauma of feeling like they have no place in the world. And it fits really well, the whole Class 7 and everyone coming together and all that sort of fun stuff. I feel like everything's so very well thought out. I think there's some pacing issues throughout the 4 games, particularly in Cold Steel 2, where it felt like they had the main story for half that game, and whatnot. And this, I don't feel like it had that problem. It felt like the story was maybe a bit slow relative to what the story they wanted to tell was, but it felt like outside of occasions where the side stuff was maybe a little forced. Actually, that might be the difference between Cold Steel 2 and this one. They had like a proper story all the way throughout, while Cold Steel 2 had enough of a downtime where the side stuff really felt like it fit a lot better. In this one, it's like, it didn't really feel like a lot of it didn't really feel like it was, it felt like it was there, like they made excuses for us to have like large chunks of side content that we could go do, and like excuses to go to bonding events and whatnot. So everything was just like this big detour from the main story, and that's probably the biggest downside to the pacing in this one. It's actually sort of the opposite of Cold Steel 2's problem. It's like they overcorrected a little much from how they did Cold Steel 2 relative to 1, as this one is relative to 3. It's interesting. I need to sift through all that jazz about Ouroboros and the Grandmaster. Holy shit, there's a lot of information there. I think I've commented a bunch of random stuff over the course of it. Return to Primordial Chaos, though. It's sort of funny, because I have this theory of everything, and everything's become so complicated that it's hard to really, let's say, wrap your head around all the information at one time and try to create something coherent of it together. So I find myself, in a lot of ways, taking my theory of everything, the thing that I sort of spurred from my mind, so that I have sort of a basis to work off of, and I'm sort of just doing everything relative to that now, so I have a little bit more of something to work with. I don't know if I'm going to do another one of those. I don't know if I'm going to do another one of those after this. I guess Reverie's a long way off, so maybe I will. I definitely want to do a spoiler talk like I have for every game at the very least, so I'll have to give some thought how exactly I want to do that. I might give a little mini abridged one rather than a longer one. But it's very interesting, because there are definitely elements that I feel as though I'm wrong about, or are suggested to be going different directions that I'm wrong about. But again, everything's so vague, and they're still keeping the cards so close to their chest that it feels like, as much as they've made these sort of massive, like, reveals, like the whole fact, like, you get to Erebonia's border, and you're like, you can't go any, or Zemuria's border, and you can't go any farther? That's really weird. How does the atmosphere work then? How does the moon and the sun work then? If it's something legitimately like that, I wonder. With that said, though, yeah, I feel as though there's a lot I need to sift through relative to that. But story-wise, honestly, it's Reen's journey and it's Class 7's journey, and I think those were done fantastically. The things I was worried about, it's Valgam. Most of them are gonna live. I came to terms with that a long time ago. They're not really, they did it in probably one of the better ways possible I can imagine. But it still sort of undermines the feeling of sacrifice and like there's a real consequence to things going on. And that sort of stuff. Not that people didn't die and whatnot. It just, again, it sort of undermines it a little bit. I felt they did a good job of building up to it and making it feel like it was natural to the story rather than something just suddenly happening for the sake of giving them the happy ending or something like that. I do feel as though they did a good job of that. So they didn't handle what they did poorly. It's just, again, until someone's properly dead for an entire game, I won't completely believe it. Like they said at the end there about how the Sept-Terrions are not really gone. What does that mean? Because it sounded like they were using the power to create the biomass. They were converting the power into biomass, right? That makes up Crow's body. So technically what's left of them is in Crow, right? technically. There's also so much discussion at the end here about souls and stuff like that, too. There's so much that's been talked about souls and, how, like, relative to bodies and relative to other stuff and whatnot. Oh my goodness, there's so much information that you could probably, like, take a thin needle to and try to poke random little holes into to try to see what was going on a little bit more. Oh my, there's so much of that. I guess Valimar died. I would honestly believe he's... Oh my goodness, you know what? If they're not actually properly gone, they said that at the end, he could come back in some, like, minor form. Where it's just like his essence or something like that. Ah. Oh well. It'll be what it is. I'm not really... It's like... it probably sounds like I'm criticizing it, obviously, right? I don't actually care that much. It's just one of those things where... It has more to do with the fact that they do it so much where they're not willing to kill off more important people. That you sort of just expect people to be alive, you know? When all things are said and done. It's an expectation, so the dramatic effect of doing that and then bringing them back is lessened. So the real problem I have with it is that, not so much that people are living or anything like that, it's just, it feels like it has, you can sort of predict what the writers are going to do, basically, right? There's typically typically the antagonistic forces will find themselves dead. You can sort of feel which ones are properly set up to die in the first place, but if they're not set up to be someone to die in the story in the first place, then chances are no. And again, it has more to do with it, it's more to do with establishing expectations than it does with me having a real problem with it as what happens in the story. I guess I like the story. I really feel super nostalgic for the Cold Steel arc. It's the first ones I did, and I feel as though that was a very nice, satisfying conclusion. I sort of wish we got to see a little bit more of the wedding. Honestly, I actually want to see a lot more of the wedding. Honestly. I want to go run around and talk to people. Hear what they've been up to for the past several months and stuff like that. I hope Reverie gives that excuse for us to go there. My general knowledge of Reverie is that it's sort of 3 different routes with a sort of Sky the Third sort of epilogue sort of feel that's supposed to transition into the next major arc of the story, right? That's my general understanding of it, so. And then there's Nayuta too, which will come out and supposedly has some semblance of a connection. And given what happened here, there's so much stuff to just parse through. I'll have a spoiler talk. I'll probably try to do it before this episode goes up, so I'm a little less tainted by anyone else going in like, well, Echo, well, Echo, well, Echo. You should understand this from this part. You should understand this from this part. It happens. It's just the nature of being, doing what I do, basically. So I guess outside of that, presentation-wise, it's what it is. I think if you're this far in the series, you know exactly what it's going to be presentation-wise. It's basically a high-res PS3 game, and that's fine. It is what it is. They're a small company. I'm not going to blame them for not having super great presentation and whatnot. From my understanding, they supposedly have been getting better at animations with Reverie and onwards, so that's probably the next big thing to really make it work better. Because I think they've sort of got into the level of detail that they really need for this. It's just a matter of animation and using art style to really make everything blend and, you know, you feel more cohesive, really. I feel as though there's definitely ways they can improve, but it is what it is, basically. I'm not too concerned about it. If the next game, like, if the Calvert arc is exactly the same graphical quality, I wouldn't complain. It's fine to me. Music-wise, I think it was great. I think they reuse old tracks excellently, especially towards the end there. I love when they harken back to old tracks like the Cold Steel 3 instrumental one. I love when they... Like, every time they do that, it's fantastic. With that said, It's, what's the best way to phrase it? It's good music. Like, the thing about the Cold Steel games is, I would probably say Cold Steel 1 and 2 have the best music in the series. Probably like a decent margin. Then probably like 0, maybe Azure, and then this. Like, the Sky games were okay, music-wise. They had a few standout stuff, but honestly, the biggest thing Sky games really had going for them was like one really good main theme that they used over and over again in basically every track, and then a few other standout ones as well. But in general, I really like where they've gone in terms of level and style of the music. It's one of those things that's been really interesting after I went back to Sky and worked back up to the Cold Steel games, where you could feel the progression of the style and the development of sort of like the musical identity of the series, and really develop it into something that is unique, interesting, varied, and a lot of fun. I can't say there was one fight in all of this that I thought, or sorry, one track in all of this that I thought was bad. I don't think there's any of them that I didn't think was at least good, too. So I think it's just telling of the series to have so much music over so many games, and the worst thing I can really say about them is that at the beginning it was a little bit generic, and especially towards the beginning, a lot of the more ambient themes were a bit, you know, meh in terms of quality, and that's really the worst thing I'd say about the series just in general, musically. I think they've done a fantastic job, and I very much look forward to what Falcom does in the future. Here, let's go back to the... Let's press this button I've never pressed before in the game. Yeah, I've never gone back to the title from in-game before. Oh, we got to this again. Technically. Okay. I don't know, I've been recording for 4 hours on this one alone and a bunch of other ones, so I probably have footage for a while. Okay, so, game done. Really fun. I probably don't sound so excited, partially because I'm hot and sweaty, and it's been a long couple of days. Honestly, the more I think about it and I try to reflect on it, the more I'm just thinking about all the stuff with McBurn and Ouroboros and the appropriateness. Let's talk about that one thing for now. The appropriateness of the name of Ouroboros. So Ouroboros, if you're not familiar, is the concept of the snake eating its own tail, right? Which implies cycles and how it's constantly... I don't know. I'm actually curious if I looked more into what the legends are. If there's like an actual like moral sort of like takeaway from it. Like, I don't know if it's like the snake eventually eats itself and returns to nothingness, maybe? Maybe that's it. The return to primordial nothingness. I don't know too much about that. I just know sort of the... I should just leave it on something like this. Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know. It's interesting. I should actually look that up. I know the basic idea of what Ouroboros is, but I don't know, like, the mythology that would actually be related to it. I've always sort of interpreted it as, like, sort of a secular thing, where the snake starts, the snake also ends. So it's always been sort of a cyclical thing, which sort of is why part of the reason why I've always had these like cycle ideas of things happening over and over again, that sort of stuff. Like the world being reverted back to via the great collapses and whatnot over and over again as part of my theory of everything and whatnot. So, well, I've been recording for a long time, and I think I'll have a lot more to say about stuff in my spoiler talk. So, look forward to that. I'll see you. Oh, I can't build my energy for that. It's just been a long journey. It has been a very long journey. I don't know what episode this is. Playtime. 137 hours. Probably cut off 7 to 10 of those hours on the basis of on the basis of idling at times. you could probably cut off 10 hours. So I'd say probably 120, 25 to 130, somewhere in that range. It took me to complete it realistically. Yeah, this is the longest in the series for me. Holy moly. So, it has been a long one. Between this game, between all the other Cold Steel games, between the Kiseki series in general. It has been exciting. It has been fun. It has been roller coasters of twists and breaks and all that sort of fun stuff. And I look forward to digging into like the nitty-gritty details. I'm gonna have to take notes on when I go to edit this. So much to parse through. I look forward to that. I don't know what I want to do for the I don't know what I want to do for the spoiler talks quite yet. I don't think I want to do 3 parts like I did last time. But it should be fun. So, I'll see you all next time. It's been a very long journey, and if you've come with me from the beginning of this, from the beginning of Cold Steel, from the beginning of this Trail series in general on my channel, which I started, oh, so many years ago now, well, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it, because I certainly have. So, I'll see you in whatever journey you join me on next, whether that's Trails, another series on my channel, maybe next in Reverie, or the spoiler talk for this that I will do, or maybe one of the book series that I'll probably get back to actually reading through, because there's plenty of books still to read in the series that I haven't actually done while going through the games. Whatever that may be, I look forward to the next journey. So, I'll see you next time on the Trail series. Drive safely, everyone.